this has happened to me. This is an adult issue. This doesn't have to impact on the children. That's my
100%.
choice.
Yeah.
That's my
Yeah.
choice, right? If you got cheated on, they didn't cheat on the kids. They cheated on you. And they didn't cheat on you because you're the problem. They're the problem, right? They are the problem. But you need to separate it from your kids. It's that simple.
Yeah, don't drag them into the drama.
No.
Yeah, don't drag them into the drama. And when you and I had our pre-check-in, you had such a beautiful sentence where you said people are entrenched in the hurt. And it probably goes back to the beginning of our conversation, because that's what it is, right? They're entrenched in the hurt. They feel hard done by. So then it's all those tit for tats. I'm not going to do this. I want to hurt you. And again, the kids form part of that collateral damage. And I say that probably for a lack of a better term, but that is ultimately what happens. They feel it.
Yes.
So hello and welcome to Blending and Mending. I'm over the moon today. I actually reached out to our podcast guest, Nikki. Keep me honest here, but I want to say it was last November, December, and I just thought I have to have this woman on Blending and Mending. So we've got Nikki here from LegallyNik. She's a child protection lawyer, and I'm just again over the moon to have you. So big welcomes from us.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I feel so honoured with that introduction. And you are my first podcast, so yes, very grateful and humbled and honoured to be here. Thank you.
Oh, Nikki, thank you so much. And straight back at you. Let's go straight into your account. You've started LegallyNik, and like I've said, I've been following you for a while now, and your account has just exploded on social media. And I mean, I look at the content that you post, and it's relatable, it's authentic, and for me, importantly, it's what people deal with every single day. I mean,
Yeah.
share parts of your story with us in terms of why you decided to start this platform and what it means to you.
Well, I was having a bit of a difficult time, and I needed to remind myself of what was important. I was also watching a lot of my friends around me. So I work in child protection. One of my best friends works in private family law. We would talk about things. There's just like this, I could just sense that there was this need for information that that was clinical. I think that's the best way to put it. I was following parenting and co-parenting accounts. I was following purely legal accounts. I found the legal accounts amazing for those quick pieces of information, but there was no warmth there, shall I say. And with the co-parenting accounts that I was following, I felt that it needed a little bit of legal context. So you can give all this, advice in regards to what you think the right thing to do is, but sometimes you may be setting someone up to fail because that's not how the judicial system is going to take it. And I just wanted to give an overall context. So, yeah, and I'm a very empathetic person. I'm a very emotive person. So, I chose this area of law for a reason. Felt like I could pour it out into a space, see if other people attracted to it. There was no other motivation other than that. And I'm really, as I was telling you just before we started recording, that I'm really quite shocked at how it's done. I'm really grateful, and I'm really happy that I can my little words can help. But I'm just saying what feels natural to me. So yeah,
No.
it's humbling that other people resonate with it.
It's beautiful, it's necessary, and I think for me, and I've been one of your biggest fans. If I can plug you in every single post and say, guys, there's an account to follow, it's LegallyNik, right? And we're going to get to that shout out at the end of the episode.
So
But
beautiful. Thank you.
I just, again, I love how relatable it is. And it's these short bursts of information. And you watch that clip and you just think, wow, like this is so spot on. I know if someone who's going through this, I'm going through it. So
Yeah.
again, just thank you. I'm so glad I've stumbled across your account. If we tap into your legal background, your experience, I know you often share that you're bombarded with DMs, people asking questions. I wanted
Yeah.
to take advantage of that today, having you on the podcast and sharing some of that legal experience you have with the blending and mending listeners. So, if we take or paint out a scenario, so you've got someone who have now separated, they are now in that divorce process, they're trying to figure out co parenting and they want to now start the legal route. What would you say are one of those critical reflection points that they need to consider? And the reason I'm asking is I think when you start thinking about the legal process, court, I need to find a lawyer, it becomes incredibly overwhelming. Emotions flow. I think the realness of your decision hits you so hard, and it can be very tricky to navigate that space. So, what would you say
Yeah.
is that one point that you absolutely need to bear in mind starting the process?
My advice would be to give yourself time to grieve the end of the relationship because it is life altering what has just happened to you. And you are going to be feeling an immense amount of emotions and possibly guilt for
Mm-hmm.
your children. And I just want you to be able to, you don't need to rush it. You don't need to, you can be content with the decision that you've made. But what I want you to avoid is spilling your pain onto your children. And too many people weaponize the children in the separation. They don't even consciously know that they're doing it. They may
Mm-hmm.
even truly believe this narrative that they're, the choices that they're making are in the best interest of the children, but actually they're not. I have a number of situations in my DMs at the moment that I can, share with you a little bit to demonstrate what that looks like, and where I literally have to say, is this a you problem or is this
Mm-hmm.
really an issue with the child? Um, and those are difficult. Those are difficult conversations to have. I mean, I just had somebody in my DMs the other day where I gave her the clinical legal advice, and she said, "No, that's not it." And I just was like, "Okay," So people just want to lead with themselves, and I'm just trying to really encourage you to take a moment for your feelings, let that sit, and then let's see if we can separate those feelings to what's in the best interest of the child.
It's probably the best advice I've heard, just the way that you've articulated that. Because you're in that space, you're angry, like you said, you're sad, there's guilt,
You
you're
want to
looking at your
punish,
children 100%.
yes,
Um,
you want to punish away, you want
yes,
to do all of that stuff. So,
and you're in it and you're trying to make these big decisions for your children that's going to impact two homes. But in that space, you are almost want to say so emotionally charged. So it's about taking that step back and feeling what you need to feel, grieve what you need to feel, and what you need to grieve. And like you're saying, for me, part of being angry is if you're angry, feel the anger too. Sit in it,
yeah.
simmer in it, pull yourself back from it, and then move forward.
Well, when you're sitting in the anger, when you're sitting in the pain, it's so hard. It's so damn
Mm-hmm.
hard, right? Um, give the job of the kids to someone else. Yeah. So
Sure.
give contact arrangements to someone else. There's no shame. You haven't failed. Yeah. You're trying to protect. It's a selfless thing to do. Give it to your mom. Give it to your friend. let them be the go-between. If anything, it actually cuts out the crap in the communication that might
Mm-hmm.
come out. Um, and then the hope is that you get to a point where you two can then start to communicate, because the pain begins to subside over time. It does. This too shall pass. Nothing is forever.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, do what you need to do to protect your peace, but just don't let it impact the relationship that the child has with their other parent. It's not fair. It's just not
Yeah.
fair. And I know it's easy for me to say that right now, but I've been in the depths of pain. I've seen
Mm-hmm.
depths of pain. Um, you will regret it later. You won't be able to take that time back. Um, and your children may remember it. Okay, so
Absolutely.
you want,
Yeah.
right, so you want to be able to, you want to be able to demonstrate to them when they're older that you loved them unconditionally and that this is what it looked like. So I'm not telling you to punish yourself or put you in situations where you should remain in toxic, volatile, abusive relationships, marriages, anything like that. But you can separate with grace. You can do that. You can do that gracefully.
Separate with grace. I love that. The thing is, though, Nikki, how do you hold up a mirror to someone who's in that space? And I'm asking because so many people, and it's exactly what you're saying, they're in their own frame of mind. Their value system says, I am doing what's in the best interest of my children. But from an outsider looking in, you can very clearly differentiate. This isn't about the kids. This is absolutely about, this is a you conversation, going back to what you said earlier. How do you help hold up a mirror to someone like that? How do you cope
Um,
through that?
I think that this is where social media is actually quite good, because if I have a meeting with you, then
Mm-hmm.
you may get defensive and argue back with me, walk out. I've had these conversations with friends, and they've really pushed their narrative and their justifications as to why they've
Mm-hmm.
behaved the way that they have. But social media can be quite good because it's a message, right? And look at the amount of people that then click follow. There's something that's there. There's something that they're going back to. It's triggered something.
Mm-hmm.
So I do get a lot of messages that also say you've changed the way that I think about this situation. Um, I'm trying to be more considerate to this.
Okay.
I have one person in my life in particular that said, I used to be like this, but when I met you, I know that she wasn't consciously weaponizing those children, but she wasn't making choices that
Mm-hmm.
were entirely in their best interest. It was to try and lessen the pain for her.
Mm-hmm.
So she said, following on the conversations that we've had, that she is making more choices that are child focused, irrespective of what it feels for her, because she's
Beautiful.
the adult. She's the adult. She's the one that can source the help if she needs it, the therapy,
Mm-hmm.
this, talk it out. These kids can't. These kids don't know how to do that. These kids are confused by what's happening. So,
And they shouldn't be
yeah.
expected to. I always feel like your role as a parent, there are certain things, if you've made this decision, there's certain, not consequences, but you now need to step into that space and you need to own that space and run with the process. It's not the children to
You're
fight your battles.
absolutely, absolutely. You're the big girl. You're the big boy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Listen, in my 30s, can still feel absolutely like a 5-year-old, cry myself to sleep, all that sort of stuff. But I'm meant to be able to regulate myself better than a 5-year-old, better than a 2-year-old. So yeah, it's me that has to toughen it up and
Yeah,
get on with it. So I expect the same
100%.
from you. I expect the same from you. And if you don't listen to it, if you're not here to listen to it, then you're probably not following, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Or you've just wasted, your money on the consultation. I'm not just saying it for lip service. I believe in it. And other solicitors would say the exact same thing. So
Yeah, I definitely think speaking to someone in terms of a readiness mindset also makes a big difference. And if they're still in a space where they're blame shifting and, like you're saying, still in that space of potential anger and sadness, that message is not going to land the way that it needs to. It is what it
yeah,
is, and hopefully that resonates later on down the line. Um,
yes.
Nikki, if I take you back into just your practice, your experience, what are you seeing as some of the common mistakes people are making from a co-parenting legal perspective that you would raise the red flag on?
Okay. So I think that this person did this to me, so I want to do that to them is is a huge one. So what I get a lot is, for example, um, my ex wants to take our child on holiday. I don't agree to it. Why don't you agree to it? Because they're too young to go on a holiday. Okay, but the other parent is the primary parent. Yes. So they're okay to look after the child here, but they're not okay to look after the child somewhere else. I said, can you explain to me what else is going on? Because I feel like there's something else.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't let me go. They didn't let me go on holiday with the child. There it is. There it is. So now you want to punish them back, right? So how dare they ask you that they want to go on holiday with the child? Forget about that, okay? You know that it's okay for the child to go on a holiday with this parent. It's frustrating that you've been blocked, but that is what the court process is there for.
100%.
So use it. You don't threaten it. Don't intimidate, but just use it. Just say, yeah, okay, listen, I wanted to go on that holiday. Can I still go on that holiday in a couple months' time? Or, this is what I'm planning to book. I have no issue with you taking them on holiday. If they say no, okay, well, I'm going to have to take it to court because I would like to take the child on holiday, just like you do. So these tit for tats are
Mm-hmm.
soul, soul breaking.
And
Um,
this is a reality, right? For so many families, they're in it, they don't see it. And who struggles? The kids.
Absolutely. And now,
Yeah.
listen, there's lots of reasons as to why you may not want to go a child to go on holiday. One may be that they don't spend a significant amount of time with that other parent, so then to give them a block week or 2 weeks may be a little bit intense,
Mm-hmm.
especially if they're really young. They're like, I'm empathetic to lots of different reasons, but when it's a tit for tat, it really it drains me. It drains
Mm-hmm.
me. You're not ready to hear my advice, is what I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Um, um, Another one is my ex is going to have it has our children at the weekends, but this weekend for whatever reason they have to go away, and they're going to leave the children with family. I'm not okay with that. Why are you not okay with that? Why would it not be okay for them to spend time with their wider family? Is it because
Mm-hmm.
they've never met them before? Is it if it's a case that they've never met them before and they don't know who they are and they're young, and then okay, let's talk about that. But if it's a case of that's granny that they see, every week or every other or every month, why? It's their parenting time. It's their parenting time. Do you leave your child with, grandma, auntie, uncle? Yes. Why can't they? Why are their rights any less to yours?
Yeah.
Because you feel like they spend less time with you, their rights are lesser, but that's not the case. So yeah, it can be difficult, and it's actually a reason why I came out of private family law, because constantly having this conversation and getting pushback
Mm-hmm.
was draining. So that's why I went into full on child protection, where there
Okay.
are there are no like this doesn't exist in child protection, because the threshold of issues are so significant that you have to step in and do something about it. this stuff, just people that need to grow up. So yeah, that's a little bit harsh, but it's true.
No, but I agree. And it's something that I say often is that often you need to check your own emotional maturity, right? And you see that lack of maturity play out in the he said, she said, this blame shifting game. And it's
Yeah,
about everything else versus the discussion that's actually on the table. And if you can
yeah,
just, like you're saying, grow up, be mature, and be the adult, be the parent, things can be so much easier. But it's that lack of maturity that I also see comes through in so many conversations, so many different dynamics. And the harsh reality around it is you can't force someone to be mature,
no,
right? Like you say,
no,
we can hold up the mirror, we can have the hard conversations. It's either going to land or it's not going to land.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
unfortunately it's a really difficult space to be in.
Yes, yes, it is. It can be very, very frustrating, but yeah, I mean, social media again, like the amount of co-parenting pages there are, pages like yours, mine. I do feel like there is this thirst and want to
Mm-hmm.
develop and know more. Um, having therapy is a luxury. It's expensive. Wait times on the NHS are ridiculous. So I appreciate that a lot of people want to heal, be better. We're in a whole era of talking about our emotions and,
Yes.
uh, so I feel like people want to come out the other end, but it's hard. It's hard when there are children involved and you've been cheated on or lied to or manipulated or somebody's stolen something from you, whatever it
Mm-hmm.
might be. Um, that's why I say, like, you have to grieve what's happened first in order to really try and separate the issue.
Mm-hmm.
This has happened to me. This isn't like this is an adult issue. This doesn't have to impact on the children. That's my choice.
100%. Yeah.
That's my
Yeah.
choice, right? If you got cheated on, they didn't cheat on the kids. They cheated on you. And they didn't cheat on you because you're the problem. They're the problem, right? They are the problem, but you need to separate it from your kids. It's that simple.
Yeah, don't drag them into the drama.
No.
Um, yeah, don't drag them into the drama. And when you and I had our pre check in, you had such a beautiful sentence where you said people are entrenched in the hurt. And it probably goes back
Yeah.
to the beginning of our conversation because that's what it is, right? They're entrenched in the hurt. They feel hard done by. So then it's all those tit for tats. I'm not going to do this. I want to hurt you. And again, the kids form part of that collateral damage. And I say that
Yes.
probably for a lack of a better term, but that is ultimately what happens. They feel it.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
yeah, I mean, you were saying that we're a generation today who absolutely deal with our emotions. And I saw a post on that recently where we are this millennial generation who wants to fix and heal from the past hurt so we don't carry that in with our children. But the thing
Yeah.
is, again, it's about break that cycle, understand it, identify it, work through it so that you
Yes.
can break the cycle. Otherwise, if we
Yes.
become, what is the word? It's that tit for tat again. It's just a continuation through a different lens.
Yeah, 100%. They're watching you. They are
Mm-hmm.
watching you. That's why I, say things like when they grow and they will know, because I was that child. You were probably that child. Um, Nothing was hidden from me. Nothing. All the drama was in front of my face, and I grew and I knew. At the time, I wasn't sure like which one was the problem, what was going on. And
Yep.
then, usually it's both of them. But I grew up and I was like, okay, this is not what I want, and you can't, you know, you make plans and God laughs at them. So you can only do so much, but
Yep.
I could change the way that I saw reactions happen. So yeah, it's like you are responsible for you. However, that other person is coming at you, behaving towards you, you are only responsible for you. That's why I also talk about a lot of I'm not a big fan of calling people narcissists because I am not a psychiatrist. But traits,
Yeah.
toxic traits. That's why I say, like, they are still entrenched in their pain. You can't do anything about that. Just be cool, be calm. Like, you can only be responsible for your own reactions. You are human, but remove yourself from those
Mm-hmm.
situations if you feel like you're going to flip. I just always think about the children. I just always think about the children and the memories that they're going to have, and how they're going to perceive their parents. I want them to have the most positive perception of both of you,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of what you do to each other. Um, Now, listen, that, if we've got like physical abuse, we've got those sorts of things. Everybody needs to stay safe. But I'm talking about the tit for tats. Those are
Mm-hmm.
the major things that I see that I just want you to be able to pause and put aside. Interrupt.
It's about what is in the best interest of the children. And I always say that if that can be your golden light, if that can be that guiding principle, it's very hard to get it wrong from there. So it goes to exactly what you're saying. Focus on the kids. What is the impact on them? And then make the decisions from there.
So we have something called the welfare checklist over here.
Yeah.
So a lot of people will take the welfare checklist and still put their own narrative as to what they deem to be safest for the child, and that is where having a solicitor. I know it's, again,
Mm-hmm.
it's expensive. It could be a luxury, but I even say, even if you can just get one-off advice, they don't pay you lip service. They're going to tell you straight, what is in the best interest of the child, what you will likely get, what a court will say.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's worth it, you know. So I would always encourage to go and get that independent legal initial advice on things.
So, how do people start that process? Because again, I think it can feel very overwhelming, very daunting. How do you even find the right person to have that initial consult with to start the court proceedings? So, talk us through
That's
that.
really hard. That's really hard, right? Because it's like finding a therapist sometimes. Um, but you don't, I mean, sometimes you can, firms have these situations where you can call them for 10, 15 minutes, have a little
Mm-hmm.
chat, see if you can have a feel for that solicitor, that
Mm-hmm.
lawyer, um, recommendations. People message me all the time asking for solicitors, and I don't want to just say go Google, because you could just be coming into anybody, right? I want you to be able to, you need to match with somebody. So if you see somebody online, you read their profile, you want to connect with somebody. I always felt like when I was working in private,
Mm-hmm.
they wanted this much of legal advice and that much of therapy. So, and I'm good with it. Like, I want to talk to you. I want to be able to help you. But not everybody is like that. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of, especially old timers are clinical and straight to the point and the facts, and they don't have time for it. Um, so yeah, I just want you to be able to connect with somebody, but really be open to the advice that you're getting. So I also get a lot of messages that say, I have a solicitor, but you seem to get me a lot more. So I appreciate that, but I do wonder if you're just not liking the advice that you're getting, and that's not the solicitor's fault. Um, the law is the law, right?
Mm-hmm.
And try to we can try to put our positions forward and demonstrate what we need to. However, if a solicitor knows that this isn't going to go your way, they need to tell you, they need to prepare you for that. So I think you just need to be also honest with yourself as to,
Mm-hmm.
is it the solicitor that's a problem, or you're just not liking what you're hearing. Like I said earlier, in relation to
Yeah.
the advice I gave over Instagram, and she just didn't. She didn't want. She didn't want to hear. She didn't want to hear that. No, that's not the case. Well, no, but it says this. Yeah, but this is what it actually means.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Off you
yeah. I
go.
mean, it's yeah. Please, like I really wanted to say, why I think you should go and speak to an independent solicitor. I'm just giving you little like free responses on Instagram
Mm-hmm.
here. If you can't take it, please go and get a solicitor to tell you. But yeah, it's very hard. It's very hard because solicitors can be expensive, and
It is a
but I
costly
just want
process.
it is a costly process. So yeah, the best advice I can give is if you can get a referral recommendation.
Okay.
If you see somebody online that you like the look of, see if you can get 10, 15 minutes to have a conversation with them so you can get a feel for them and just be realistic about what you're going through.
Mm-hmm. And I suppose open-minded as well, right? So it's going back to, you might have a narrative in terms of what you think you're going to hear versus what you're actually going to hear. And you were saying
Yeah.
the law is the law. So
Yeah.
about being open-minded about what the process could look like and what unfolds.
Yes. Yes. I get a lot of messages that say that they are disappointed with the judicial system, um, absolutely hate the family law system. Um, I've had messages like you're just trying to prolong the conflict so that you get more money. I don't monetize,
Mm-hmm.
like I don't become my clients. And I just say, like, I completely appreciate that you don't like what you're hearing. I've said it so many times on the phone. Like, I appreciate you don't like what you're hearing. I didn't make the law. I'm just here. Messenger. If I can give you like a if I can like swerve you around things, I'm gonna tell you, I promise. Um, but otherwise, they just like the family law system just wants you to grow up and
Mm-hmm.
don't have so much
And
conflict and
step up. Step up.
literally
Grow up
just
and
step up.
step up.
Absolutely. The family law system is there for like proper real victims,
Mm-hmm.
to protect. So when you're coming in with these, I don't want this one to go on holiday because she didn't let me go on holiday. They're going to go on holiday. They're going to go on holiday.
And the thing is that
They're-
that might be a very real thing in your life today, but I hear you in terms of putting into perspective, guys. Like you said, they're going to go on
right.
holiday. It is what it is.
Oh,
Um,
it's like disappointed with the legal system. It's just like, but it's not made for you. It's not made for this situation. It's just like,
yeah, like we said, grow up, step up. I know it sounds harsh, but that honestly is language that I use in my own home. Nikki, just in terms of some parting advice, words of wisdom, what are one or two things that you really want people to leave with listening to this podcast, and giving them some hope in terms of what life could be through the legal lens and if they do embark on that journey?
I always say, my name's Nikki. I'm here giving legal advice, and whether you are inside or outside of the courtroom, but I would prefer for that to be outside of the courtroom, and I say that with my chest. Yeah, I don't
Mm-hmm.
want you to go to court unless you absolutely have to. If the children are being weaponized against you, if you are feeling alienated in any way, um, if then of course you do what you need to do. But I want you to be able to put the children first. I want you to be able to be two adults that can communicate properly. I know that's really
Mm-hmm.
difficult when you're with toxicity in people. So it's okay if you give that person time because they're still in their grief. That's okay. Try mediation. Just make choices that can keep you outside of the courtroom. And
Mm-hmm.
if the other person isn't doing that, that doesn't mean that you have to match their energy. Keep Keep yours good. Keep yours pure. They've asked if they can go on holiday. They get asked if they can have an extra day of contact. Yeah, that's cool. That's what the child wants. No problem. Irrespective of how you're treating me.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want you to do. Like I always say, I have to sleep at night. I have to be able to sleep at night. Yeah, so I go to bed with knowing those choices. So I want it to be good, irrespective of what that other person has done to me. So those are the sorts of that's the real message that I want to send to people.
I
Do
love
better.
that.
Do good for you.
Do good for you. And like you said, go to bed at night knowing that you've done everything you possibly can. Your slate is clean and you're doing everything that you can for your child.
Yeah, because they are going to grow and they are going to know. And
Mm-hmm.
one day when they're older, they're going to ask you questions about your relationship and how everything was. And tell them, but you will be able to tell them that you moved with grace. Like you,
You moved with grace.
yeah.
Nikki, how do people get a hold of you? Because, like I said, I love you. I think you're fab. So I'm going to plug you all over Instagram, Facebook. This is going to go into Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. But how do
Wow.
people reach out to you?
So at the moment, I'm just on Instagram and
Okay.
TikTok, and it's just LegallyNik. That's where I am.
At LegallyNik. Perfect. I will link that into the episode notes as well. Nikki, thank you just for being here, for spending time with me, for chatting through
Thank
some of
you.
the harder conversations that we don't always know how to have. And I think because it's hard, we steer away from it. This was fantastic. And I just wish you all the best on your journey of helping and supporting.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And you're doing amazing things. I really, really, really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.